Today we're going to work on the 2004 ZX6R. There's a few things I need to finish on it. Well, there's a lot of stuff I need to finish on it, but there's a few things in the short term that I need to finish on it. And those are things that I kind of put some patches in place while I was test riding the bike because I wanted to make sure that everything was good enough to actually put some more money into. It is. It's a nice bike. It runs good. So now let's fix them. One of them is the fuel hose. The other one's the radiator. So this is the actual hose that I'm talking about. It should look like this. It should have both ends. And in the future, if anyone ever needs to know, right here. That's how you open that hose up. You don't need to cut it. Just push right here. But it should look like this. The one that came with my bike looks like that. And that was done from the previous owner who decided that he'd go ahead and cut that hose. That cost $100. Damn! Good job. In the meantime, while I was waiting to find the part online, I've been using this. And you can see this is not made for the job that it was asked to do. But it did okay while I was test riding it. But now that we got this back, now that we got a new hose, try and get that separate so we can all see it. Now that we got the new hose, we should be in good shape and we can throw that one back in the pile. And that one we can throw away. The other thing I've got to get resolved is if you see up in there on the radiator, and I don't think anybody can see it because that big old hose is in the way, there's a zip tie that's holding that radiator on. Well, let me get a couple things out of the way and I'll show you. That is what's been holding on my radiator while I've been test driving this thing. Obviously, that's not a long-term solution or actually even a solution at all, but it did work to help me test drive the bike and test ride it and make sure everything was okay before I put any more money into it. And so far, everything's checked out fine, so now we're going to replace that radiator. But you can see where that tab broke right there, and clearly, that radiator needs to be replaced. And while I know we've all seen the inexpensive eBay radiators for $100, 99 bucks, 110 bucks, whatever it is, I actually found a factory Kawasaki one used. Now, does that mean this one doesn't leak? No, it doesn't. Does that mean that those $100 ones off of eBay won't leak? No, it doesn't. So I figured I would try and go with the used one and see what that gets me first. And if that works out, then we're in good shape. If it doesn't, well, guess we'll go back to eBay. Okay, so we've got the radiator out now, and now we need to swap the fan from the old one to the new one. So we need to swap the fan, and I'm going to go ahead and take the temp sensor too because I know that one works, even though the used one came with one. And I'm going to take the fan and the temp sensor and swap it onto this one. So fan, temp sensor, let's get to work. radiator, well, the new used radiator, is loaded up with a fan and the temp sensor. So it's ready to go back on the bike. Let's put it on. Okay, we've got the new radiator installed. Well, the new used radiator installed. And obviously, as you can see, all the tabs are there. Everything's ready to rock and roll. And now we've got the coolant overflow tank installed. So we can go ahead and button up the rest of this under the fuel tank area. Okay, as you can see, the new fuel line is installed. We've got the air box in, coolant overflow tank is on, everything is good to go. I still need to add coolant and burp the system, but let's check the fuel line, make sure everything works fine. I think we work good. All right, with that being said, nobody wants to watch me add coolant and burp the system. So I'm gonna go ahead and call it a day. I will let you know in the future how everything worked out, whether or not we've got any leaks. I don't think so, everything looked pretty good. Fuel line's working fine, so everybody have a good evening, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.